Hello everyone and welcome to this video. I hope you're having a wonderful day and I am sorry. This week video is not going to be about Shingeki no Kyojin because I wanted to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen and I just can't afford to do two videos in 1 week right now. So in my last video I talked about the first episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, and in today's video I want to talk about the first arc that ended last week. And by the way, the next episode will be on the 15th of January. So what I want to talk about today is like character developments and stuff like that, and yes, I am trying to look smart. To start, I have to give context. So in this first season, in this first arc, we are introduced to the main characters, villains, and basically, like in short, the environment the story is built on and the stakes that are attached to it. Clearly, we are in a world that wants to be similar to ours, and the only thing changing is like the Kegare aspect. And this difference creates another one, the presence of exorcists. And yes, we also have exorcists in our world, but I doubt they're doing the same thing. Our main protagonist here is Yuji, and he's also the one who has the most character development in this arc. And I also consider Nobara, Megumi, and Gojo as being main characters, like not the protagonists, but like at the very least like main characters. But the thing is, at this moment of the story, at the moment where like the anime is, we still don't know much about these characters, like main/secondary characters, especially Gojo, since not only we don't know much about him or his past, but we also don't really know how he's thinking, what his way of thinking is. He's really a troubling character. But I'm getting lost. Yuji went from this innocent high schooler who didn't know shit about spirits to host of a really powerful demon. And in this arc, especially towards the end, he has to change his way of perceiving things and like his morals after being hit by harsh realities. He first realized that the world wasn't really as he thought. Then he also realized that despite being strong, like in his previous life, in the environment that he was in right now, he was actually pretty weak and had to resolve to ask for help to Sukuna to get out of dangerous situations. And here I can make a parallel with Izuku, Midoriya Izuku from Boku no Hero Academia, because this guy in the beginning of the story didn't really control his powers, at all, and his body was totally destroyed after using it. A comparison can be made here because the weight that those two carry results in a degradation of them as characters, like as heroes of their story. Why? Well, it's simple. In the end of each fight, like in any other anime, each of those characters end up pretty badly hurt, and in Yuji's case, he even died once. And the thing is, during that fight, the resolution of that fight didn't happen because of something they did, like because they were in control of their power and they were controlling things, but rather because they just went along with like the vibe of the story or something like that, and that resulted to them using something that they didn't control. So it really feels like they don't have really control over what they're doing in the story. Like for example, Midoriya, it's not like Yuji who's like possessed, but like when he throws punches in the beginning, it's just like he knows that it's gonna hit and it's gonna hurt, and it will certainly work, but he doesn't have control over like the strength. There's nothing really epic in that. I mean, yes, maybe the first times, but as time goes on, this feeling of whoa, it's extraordinary, even though he doesn't like control his strength, he's still able to fight. This feeling will just fade away. And it's kind of the same with Yuji, because the fact that the resolution of the fight isn't made by him or by like things that he does takes the glory of the fight away from him. And in his case, it's not even like Midoriya who's actually still here as a character. No, when he decides that he will let his powers who are actually Sukuna like take control, he fades away as a character, he disappears as a character, he's not even here anymore. And as a result, Sukuna is the one like having all the glory. And it is the case in the anime and for viewers too, and that's why we have phenomenon like we see on the internet when people like Sukuna more than Yuji. And that type of thing can be kind of dangerous because when you do this, it kind of looks like your character, like your main character, your protagonist is weak as a protagonist, which is the case in here for Yuji. It's not a bad thing per se, but it's just a fact. As a main character, Yuji, for the moment, is weak. And when that happens, you have no other choice than to make your character, like, control, like, their powers. Because if you don't, viewers are gonna get bored, and you don't want that. And that's what Jujutsu Kaisen is doing at the end of this first season. And yes, it's like a start, it's a beginning because it's not there yet. The resolution of the fight happened still because of Sukuna, but it wasn't willingly. Yuji didn't want it, it just happened, so it's an improvement, right? And he was even granted a better scene that people will certainly remember.
今まで俺の口から出た言葉は全て嘘だったんじゃないかと思えるくらい腹の底から出た本音ぶっ殺してやる
Like the moment he said like it was a better scene. That's a good evolution for his character. But still, as a protagonist, Yuji is still very weak, and it's not because he is uninteresting or such, but because for the moment, it looks like the part that he takes in the story is not that important. Let me explain things to you. The Cursed Spirit want two things: to put Gojo in a situation where he can fight anymore, and to make Sukuna their ally. And in this scenario, he's involved just because he's Sukuna's host, not because he's Yuji or not because of his character. How does his presence affect the story? Because for the moment, I still don't know what his role in the story is, except for being Sukuna's host. I don't know what it is. And even Sukuna is not really interested in Yuji. He's focused more on Megumi. So if you want my opinion, I feel like Gojo, Sukuna, and Megumi are characters that are introduced to us as more important to the story than Yuji, which is a little bit weird. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm saying that for a character that you want to present as the main character, to take away from him the I'm important to the story thing is a little bit weird. And honestly, even where I am like in the story, like I'm up to date with the scans, I still don't really know what Yuji's role is or is going to be, except for being Sukuna's host. And I know that it was changed at some point, like it has to, and I know that it will, but I'm really confused, and I also want to see what it's going to be like. So yeah, I think this arc is basically the story of Yuji becoming like a true exorcist, both officially and mentally. And the mental thing was triggered by Junpei and his story. And I want to say, I think that it's really sadistic of the producers of the anime to have put Junpei in the opening, because when they do that, like viewers will naturally think that he will be a part of the team, like the same class as Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara, which is not the case. They knew perfectly that he was going to die, so it's kind of sadistic. And yeah, and I loved it because it's a good way of rhythming your story. So far, I feel like this anime adaptation of Jujutsu Kaisen is really well, like the rhythm of the story is really well handled, is what I want to say. The next arc is going to be a tournament, as in every and each shonen story, and it's going to be good too. I know it because I read it, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that in an anime. So yeah, so far I'm enjoying this adaptation, and I hope you do too. That's all I wanted to say. If you like this video, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more. Bye!